So I did a video the other day about the new energy bill that they're trying to get through Parliament. It was the third reading the other day, and actually they passed it, which is pretty scary. This could actually put you in prison, or you could be fined up to £15,000 if you don't abide by what they want you to do in the House, which I'll tell you what they want you to do in a minute. I was going to write something out, but then I seen something on the internet by Richard Littlejohn from the Daily Mail, and he says it better than me. Obviously, he's a journalist, he gets paid for doing this sort of shit, he's probably been to university, so I'm going to read you out what he wrote. Alright, stay tuned to the end of the video because this is some pretty good shit here. Here we go. Outraged at having to pay £12.50 a day for driving your non-compliant car in Genghis Khan's ULEZ zone, or one of the other cynical low emissions rackets popping up everywhere, you ain't seen nothing yet. The eco-maniacs are coming for your house next as part of the deranged mission to make us all colder and poorer. Under new legislation which sailed through its third reading in the Commons this week, homeowners and landlords whose properties don't meet net zero targets could be fined £15,000 and jailed for up to a year. Yet you could end up behind bars if you fail to fit a heat pump. While most reporting of the energy bill has centred on the government's shameful U-turn on allowing offshore wind farms, there has been scant coverage of the clauses which criminalise failure to comply with energy efficiency regulations. If the bill passes into law, it will provide for the imposition of civil penalties not exceeding £15,000 and criminal offences not exceeding 12 months imprisonment. Yeah, you can go to prison. I'm not joking, look it up. Anyone selling or letting property must obtain an energy performance certificate. Inspectors will be given the power to order improvements and prevent the property being sold or let if they are not carried out to the letter. Such improvements will include fitting heat pumps, loft insulation, double glazing and so-called smart appliances. Compulsory installation of smart meters, fridges, washing machines, immersion heaters and so on, all connected to the internet. Sounds like Big Brother's coming. We told you a long time ago. It's not coming, it's here already. All connected to the internet will allow the government and the energy companies to monitor electricity consumption and switch off your supply if they think you're using too much. Better get a generator or find some other ways of generating your own electricity, because now they're going to be able to turn you off. I'm not making this stuff up. It's all there in Hansard Parliament's official record. When the energy bill's third reading came before the House this week, only a handful of MPs spoke out against it. Honourable mentions must go to Tory MPs, including Jacob Rees-Mogg, John Redwood, Craig McKinley and Richard Draxby as he's known in the trade. The rest of the Muppets sat on their hands or retired to the subsidised bars and restaurants as this sinister piece of legislation slithered its way through the session, virtually unopposed. Some of the more bonkers MPs even thought these draconian proposals didn't go far enough. For fuck's sake. Britain's Green MP Caroline Here We Go Luby Lucas called for an immediate end to all gas and oil exploration on the bizarre grounds that this would free us from dependence on Vladimir Putin. Huh? For fuck's sake. What is she on? Ed Miliband moved on an amendment which would Ed Miliband moved on an amendment which would have forced the national grid to get rid of all fossil fuels by 2030. Nurse! Fortunately, Mr. Ed's economic suicide prescription fell at the first hurdle. But Tuesday's risible debate only served to demonstrate just how comprehensively and apparently irreversible our elected representatives have capitulated to the net zero nutcases. When push come to shove, only 19 MPs voted against the bill. So out of a grand total of 650, we must assume that 631 either couldn't be bothered or genuinely believe turning homeowners into criminals in their insane crusade to cut the world's carbon output by a piffling 1% is a proper way to behave in a modern alleged democracy. Do they really think people should be banged up for failing to fit a heat pump? And is this a desperate state to which the so-called Conservative Party, which is supposed to stand for individual liberty and a property-owning democracy, has been reduced? Answers on TikTok to number 10. Since social media is about the only thing politicians seem to give a toss about these days. Very true. Spineless Sunak performs an immediate reverse ferret every time he comes under pressure from his backbenchers. His latest climb down was over offshore wind farms, which he promised to ban during his leadership campaign. I can remember that when he said that, yeah. Following a revolt by a bunch of virtual signalling MPs with an eye on their future career prospects after the Tories' inevitable defenestration next year, the PM buckled. They were led by Alok Sharma, the former windmills minister, who actually burst into tears back in 2021 when delegates at the COP26 Jamboree watered down his proposal to take the world back to the Stone Age. Maybe when Nurse Ratched has finished with Minister Ed, she might give Alok the once-over. I think he needs more than a fucking once-over. I wonder if Sharma bothered to read the comments of Indian Prime Minister Modi yesterday. This is really good. You got to listen to this. I said listen to the end, didn't I? It's nearly the end. As he hosted the G20 summit in Delhi, Modi made it clear in no uncertain terms that unless the West's bribed emergency economies like his own to decarbonise, there is no question of India shutting down, let alone refraining from opening new coal-fired power stations. Call at 100 billion for cash. All this at the time Sunak is trying to stitch up a trade deal with India, so he's happy to do business with a major international polluter, but at the same time thinks it's a good idea to send his own citizens to jail for failing to fit a heat pump, which won't make the slightest difference to global emissions. And you thought Genghis Khan's ULEZ was as bad as it gets? You ain't seen nothing yet. Put your thermals on, chummy, you're nicked. See what the world is coming to. There's nothing to do. That was finished now, what he said. This is me now. But there's nothing to do with global warming. It's to do with them being... I think, to me, I can see if they've got rights to just enter your home to check what you've got, what heating you've got, whether you've got new double glazing, whether you've got insulation. That's just going to give them a license just to be able to come in your house anytime they want. So you don't want people just coming in your house anytime that they feel that they want to come in. And you can't stop them because they're going to have the police outside. Aren't they? The police are not meant to work for business. They're meant to be independent. But they're going to come and say, oh, but I'm stopping the breach of the peace happening, which is a load of fucking bollocks. We know the police are corporate now. We know they work for business and they don't work for the people. That's always been the way, actually, since the police was formed. But worse now, you can see it every day now, that they are corporate, the police. So they're going to be on the side of the energy suppliers, all these guys that are going to come in with these certificates saying, look, I'm from the license of fucking energy, and now I've got a right to come into your house to check that you've got a new boiler or a new heat source pump, or you're not burning a wood burning stove or a fire. They're going to have a license just to come in your house, and the police are going to be outside. They're not going to be on your side, are they? They're going to be on the side of business, and they're going to make sure that guy gets in your house. Then you know what the police are like. They'll want to come in and have a look around, and then they might find something else, be looking around for something else you've got in your house that you shouldn't have. I'm not saying it's illegal, but maybe it's just, that crossbow you got up there. Have you got a license for your drone that you got in the corner there? Go on. You know what the police are like. That's why I don't engage with the police, because you can't trust the police. They're always looking for some way to make some money off you, to tax you. So this is something else they're going to be able to do. Get the police into your house. Get these people in your house. Stitching you up for something, or having you being questioned about something that you haven't done wrong. It's all about power like that. It's nothing to do with fucking global warming, net zero. That's a load of bollocks. It's just to get more draconian powers through. Who can afford? Who's going to be able to afford? If the government turn around and say you've got a new double glazing, take that gas fire out, take that boiler out, you could be looking at £20,000. Who's got £20,000? These days you can't get loans anyway because the banks are not lending money out to people. It's hard to get the credit. If you get it on credit, these windows and shit, you're paying like twice, 3 times as much. They're just going to put you into debt. You'll be in debt, then you can't pay your mortgage, and your house gets taken off you. Then BlackRock could probably buy it up and rent it back to you. And then with the proceedings of your house sale, you'll use that to pay extortionate rent. And then when you run out of all your savings that you've made off your house sale to BlackRock, you will be evicted and on the fucking street. That's where this is all going. That is the truth, from my eyes, is where it's all going. It's not about net zero. I'm all for insulation. I'm all for that. Yeah, it makes sense, insulation. Why don't we, or the government, find ways of raising the money for the insulation and helping people without the money to do double glaze and have their windows double glazed. They can have subsidies, or like they did with a feedback tariff with the solar panels. People get free installation of solar panels, they feed it back in. Somehow the government or the electric companies make the money back. Let's do that. Let's let people have the windows for free, new boilers for free. Surely, if that's saving the environment and saving money, in the end, that's got to be a good thing. All the money's going to come back to the government and to us. We're going to get all the money back. Actually, we pay all the money out. Let's let everybody have the free windows. It's our money at the end of the day. And in that way, obviously, that will reduce the energy costs. And in a roundabout way, we will get our money back. Not taxing people £15,000, because that just goes to big business. Because that just or putting them to prison, putting them in these new supermax prisons. What's going to happen then? You know, somebody owns those supermax prisons. It's a fucking business, isn't it, at the end of the day? So every person you put in a prison, that's great. We get a certain amount of money for them. Great. That goes into big business, putting people in prison. So you might say, well, yeah, nobody's benefiting from putting someone in prison. Of course they are. Of course they're benefiting. Everything's a business. The police, the court system, the prisons, it's all a business, but it's just not our business. It's just like a lot of the MPs' friends and buddies' businesses. What do you think they're going to do when they finish work? Where are they going to go? They've got all these businesses that is going to give them a job or do consultancy for. Of course, that's why most of them are in power. It's for power and it's for profit. Not now, because they can make a lot more money not being in government. That's what I say. Why is Richie Sunak? He only earns £164,000. What the fuck's he doing in that job? Where if in the private sector, he could earn a lot more money. A lot more money. He's there, obviously, because he's got his fingers in the pie. He can alter it. He can persuade people. He can get this power through, that power through. That lobbyist can go to him, and that lobbyist can go to him, and he can help out. He can't help his friends and families out, and colleagues, and the 1% by being in a job in the city. But in government, he can do a lot for him, can't he? It's obvious. Anyway, I always digress like I do on my videos. That was an article by Richard Littlejohn. Really good that was, Daily Mail, and it just about sums up what I was going to say. But he says it's so much quicker than me. You know what I'm like, I do ramble on. But thank you for listening. I hope I give you lots to think about. Cheers.